Duke of Athole, alternatively Duke of Athole, named after Atholl in Scotland, is a title in the Peerage of Scotland held by the head of Clan Murray. It was created by Queen Anne in 1703 for John Murray, 2nd Marquess of Atholl, with a special remainder to the heir male of his father, the 1st Marquess. As of 2010 there were 12 subsidiary titles attached to the dukedom: Lord Murray of Tullibardine, Lord Murray, Gask and Balquhidder, Lord Murray, Balvenie and Gask, Lord Murray, Balvenie and Gask. In the County of Perth, Viscount of Balquhidder, Viscount of Balquhidder, Glenalmond and Glenlyon. In the County of Perth, Earl of Atholl, Earl of Tullibardine, Earl of Tullibardine, Earl of Strathtay and Strathardle. In the County of Perth, Marquess of Atholl and Marquess of Tullibardine. In the County of Perth. These titles are also in the Peerage of Scotland. The dukes have also previously held the following titles: Barons Strange between 1736 and 1764 and 1805 and 1957, Baron Murray of Stanley in the County of Gloucester, and Earl Strange between 1786 and 1957, Baron Glenlyon of Glenlyon in the County of Perth between 1846 and 1957, and Baron Percy between 1865 and 1957. From 1786 to 1957 the Dukes of Athole sat in the House of Lords as Earl Strange. The Duke's eldest son and heir apparent uses the courtesy title Marquess of Tullibardine. The heir apparent to Lord Tullibardine uses the courtesy title Earl of Strathtay and Strathardle. Lord Strathtay's heir apparent uses the courtesy title Viscount Balquhidder. The Duke of Athole is the hereditary chief of Clan Murray. The Dukes of Athole, as massive landowners, were initiators of and primary participants in the Highland clearances, the eviction and forced removal of families from their homes, to be replaced by sheep. Family history. The Dukes of Athole belonged to an ancient Scottish family. Sir William Murray of Castleton married Lady Margaret, daughter of John Stuart, 1st Earl of Atholl. Sir William was one of the many Scottish noblemen killed at the Battle of Flodden in 1513. His son Sir William Murray lived at Tullibardine in Perthshire. The latter's grandson, Sir John Murray, was created Lord Murray of Tullibardine in 1604 and Lord Murray, Gask and Balquhidder and Earl of Tullibardine in 1606. All three titles were in the Peerage of Scotland. He was succeeded by his eldest son, William, the 2nd Earl. He married as his second wife Lady Dorothea, daughter of John Stuart, 5th and last Earl of Atholl. Charles I agreed to revive the earldom of Atholl in favour of Lord Tullibardine's children by Lady Dorothea. Tullibardine consequently resigned his titles in favour of his younger brother, Patrick Murray, who was created Lord Murray of Gask and Earl of Tullibardine in 1628, was remainder to his heirs male whatsoever and presumably with the precedence of 1606. John Murray, son of the 2nd Earl of Tullibardine by Lady Dorothea Stuart, was created Earl of Atholl in the Peerage of Scotland in 1629. He was succeeded by his son, the 2nd Earl of Atholl. In 1670 he succeeded his cousin James Murray, 2nd Earl of Tullibardine, as 3rd Earl of Tullibardine. In 1676 he was created Lord Murray, Balvenie and Gask, Viscount of Balquhidder, Earl of Tullibardine and Marquess of Atholl, was remainder to the heirs male of his body. All titles were in the Peerage of Scotland. Lord Atholl married Lady Amelia and Sophia, daughter of James Stanley, 7th Earl of Derby. On his death the titles passed to his eldest son, the 2nd Marquess. He had already been created Lord Murray, Viscount Glenalmond and Earl of Tullibardine for life in the Peerage of Scotland in 1696. In 1703 he was made Lord Murray, Balvenie and Gask.
in the County of Perth, Viscount of Balquhidder, Glenalmond and Glenlyon, in the County of Perth, Earl of Strathtay and Strathardle, in the County of Perth, Marquess of Tullibardine, in the County of Perth, and Duke of Athole, was remainder failing heirs male of his own to the heirs male of his father. All 5 titles were in the Peerage of Scotland. His eldest surviving son and heir apparent, William Murray, Marquess of Tullibardine, took part in the Jacobite Rising of 1715. He was charged with high treason and attainted by Act of Parliament. An Act of Parliament was also passed to remove him from the succession to his father's titles. Atholl was consequently succeeded by his third son, James II Duke. In 1736 he also succeeded his kinsman James Stanley, 10th Earl of Derby, as 7th Baron Strange and as Lord of Man. The Duke's 2 sons both died in infancy. His eldest daughter Lady Charlotte succeeded him in the barony of Strange and the lordship of Man. Atholl died in 1764 and was succeeded in the dukedom and remaining titles by his nephew, John, the 3rd Duke. He was the eldest son of Ltg and Lord George Murray, 6th son of the 1st Duke. The same year he succeeded, the House of Lords decided that he should be allowed to succeed in the titles despite his father's attainder. He married his first cousin, the aforementioned Charlotte Murray, Baroness Strange. They sold the sovereignty over the Isle of Man to the British Crown for £70,000. The Duke and Duchess were both succeeded by their eldest son, John, the 4th Duke. In 1786 he was created Baron Murray of Stanley in the County of Gloucester, and Earl Strange in the Peerage of Great Britain. These titles gave him a seat in the House of Lords. Atholl sold his remaining properties and privileges in the Isle of Man to the British Crown for £409,000. He was succeeded on his death in 1829 by his eldest son, John, the 5th Duke. He had already in 1798 been declared to have been of an unsound mind. The 5th Duke never married and was succeeded by his nephew, George Murray, 2nd Baron Glenlyon, the eldest son of James Murray, 1st Baron Glenlyon, 2nd son of the 4th Duke, who had been created Baron Glenlyon of Glenlyon in the County of Perth, in the Peerage of the United Kingdom in 1821. Lord Glenlyon married Lady Emily Frances Percy, daughter of Hugh Percy, 2nd Duke of Northumberland and 3rd Baron Percy. The 6th Duke was succeeded by his only child, John, the 7th Duke. In 1865 he succeeded as 6th Baron Percy through his grandmother aforesaid. The same year he registered the additional surname of Stuart at the Lyon Court. In 1893 he resumed the original spelling of the title Atholl instead of Atholl. He was succeeded by his second but eldest surviving son, John, the 8th Duke. He died childless in 1942 and was succeeded by his youngest brother, James, the 9th Duke. He never married, and on his death in 1957 the baronies of Murray and Glenlyon and earldom of Strange became extinct. The barony of Percy was passed on to his kinsman Hugh Percy, 10th Duke of Northumberland, while the barony of Strange fell into abeyance. The dukedom and remaining titles were passed on to the late Duke's 4th cousin twice removed, George Murray, the 10th Duke of Athole. He was the grandson of Sir Evelyn Murray, son of Sir George Murray, grandson of Dr. George Murray, Bishop of Rochester, son of Bishop Lord George Murray, second son of the 3rd Duke. As all the English titles had become extinct on the 9th Duke's death, the 10th Duke was not entitled to an automatic seat in the House of Lords, gaining in 1957 the then unfortunate distinction of being the highest-ranking peer without a seat in the upper chamber of Parliament. However, already in 1958 Atholl was elected a Scottish representative peer and was able to take a seat in the House of Lords. Through the Peerage Act 1963, all hereditary Scottish peers gained the right to sit in the House of Lords. The 10th Duke was unmarried and was succeeded in 1996 by his second cousin once removed, John Murray, 11th Duke of Athole. He was the grandson of Reverend Douglas Stewart Murray, brother of the aforementioned Sir George Murray, great-grandfather of the 10th Duke. On his death in 2012, the 11th Duke was succeeded by his eldest son, Bruce Murray, 12th Duke of Athole. Other family members: Mungo Murray, second son of the first Earl of Tullibardine of the first creation, succeeded as second Viscount of Stormont according to a special remainder in 1631, but died childless in 1642. Lord Charles Murray, second son of the first Marquess, was created Earl of Dunmore in 1686. Lord James Murray, third son of the first Marquess, was Member of Parliament for Perthshire. Lord William Murray, fourth son of the first Marquess, succeeded his father-in-law as Lord Nairn in 1683 but was attainted for taking part in the Jacobite Rising of 1715. Lord George Murray, fifth son of the first Duke and father of the third Duke, was a prominent Jacobite general. He was also the father of James Murray, a soldier and politician, and George Murray, a naval commander and politician. Lord John Murray, eighth son of the first Duke, was a soldier and politician. Lord George Murray, second son of the third Duke, was Bishop of St David's. His eldest son Dr. George Murray was Bishop of Rochester. His fourth son Sir Herbert Harley Murray was Governor of Newfoundland. The actor Stephen Murray and diplomat Sir Ralph Murray were the grandsons of Reverend Francis William Murray, son of Dr. George Murray, Bishop of Rochester. Comedian and prospective parliamentary candidate Al Murray is the grandson of former British Ambassador Sir Ralph Hay Murray. James Arthur Murray, only son of Lord William Murray, third son of the third Duke, was a Vice-Admiral in the Royal Navy. Lord Charles Murray Ainslie, fifth son of the third Duke, was a clergyman. His son John Murray Ainslie was the father of one Charles Murray Ainslie, a Vice-Admiral in the Royal Navy, 2. George Herbert Murray Ainslie, a Major General in the Madras Army, and 3. Hugh Murray Ainslie, a New Zealand politician. Sir George Murray, son of Reverend George Edward Murray, son of Dr. George Murray, Bishop of Rochester, was a civil servant. His son Sir Evelyn Murray was Secretary to the General Post Office between 1914 and 1934. Lord James Murray, second son of the fourth Duke, was a soldier and politician and was created Baron Glenlyon in 1821. Anne, Duchess of Athole, VA, wife of the sixth Duke, was mistress of the robes to Queen Victoria. Dame Kitty Stewart Murray, DBE, MP, wife of the eighth Duke, was Parliamentary Secretary to the Board of Education from 1924 to 1929, the first woman to serve in a Conservative and Unionist government. Traditional residence and military command. The Dukes of Athol's traditional residence is Blair Castle, though the family has owned several other residences and castles in the past, notably Hunting Tower Castle, Balvenie Castle, Tullibardine Castle and Dunkeld House. The holder of the title also commands the only legal private army in Europe, the Atholl Highlanders, which is headquartered at Blair Castle. Earls of Tullibardine, first creation. John Murray, 1st Earl of Tullibardine. William Murray, 2nd Earl of Tullibardine. Earls of Tullibardine, 2nd creation. Patrick Murray, 1st Earl of Tullibardine. James Murray, 2nd Earl of Tullibardine. Patrick Murray, Lord Murray and Gask. James Murray, Lord Murray and Gask. John Murray, 3rd Earl of Tullibardine. Earls of Atholl.
John Murray, 1st Earl of Atholl. John Murray, 3rd Earl of Tullibardine, 2nd Earl of Atholl. Marquesses of Atholl. John Murray, 1st Marquess of Atholl. John Murray, 2nd Marquess of Atholl. Dukes of Athole. Other titles: Marquess of Tullibardine, Earl of Strathtay and Strathardle, Viscount of Balquhidder, Glenalmond and Glenlyon and Lord Murray. Balvenie and Gask, Marquess of Atholl, Earl of Tullibardine, Viscount of Balquhidder and Lord Murray. Balvany and Gask, Earl of Atholl, Earl of Tullibardine and Lord Murray. Gask and Balquhidder, Lord Murray of Tullibardine. John Murray, 1st Duke of Athole. John Murray, Marquess of Tullibardine. William Murray, Marquess of Tullibardine. Lord Charles Murray. Other titles: Baron Strange. James Murray, 2nd Duke of Athole. John Murray, Marquess of Tullibardine. James Murray, Marquess of Tullibardine. John Murray, 3rd Duke of Athole. John Murray, 4th Duke of Athole. John Murray, 5th Duke of Athole. Other titles: Earl Strange and Baron Murray. Baron Glenlyon. George Augustus Frederick. John Murray, 6th Duke of Athole. Other titles: Baron Percy John James Hugh Henry Stuart Murray, 7th Duke of Athole. John Stuart Murray, Marquess of Tullibardine. Major Lord George Stuart Murray. John George Stuart Murray, 8th Duke of Athole. James Stuart Murray, 9th Duke of Athole. George Ian Murray, 10th Duke of Athole. John Murray, 11th Duke of Athole. Bruce George Ronald Murray, 12th Duke of Athole. The heir apparent is the present holder's elder son, Michael Bruce John Murray, Marquess of Tullibardine. Barons Glenlyon. James Murray, 1st Baron Glenlyon. George Augustus Frederick John Murray, 2nd Baron Glenlyon. See above for further succession arms heraldry. Family tree.